So what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, or Daily Dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. We are talking about injuries today. Not happy, but it is part of the game. If you're a Dolphins fan, you know it's part of the team, right? So one of the big moves the Dolphins made in the offseason was going out and getting James Daniels from Pittsburgh. He's primarily a left guard, but has been willing to switch to the right guard if need be, right? It was a big move for his 3-year contract. Here's the thing: he tore his Achilles in September of last year, and that's normally like an 11, maybe up to 13-month injury. So we all know football starts in September. We got an update today saying that he's progressing on schedule. That doesn't mean that's encouraging, but also that means that he would basically be getting right right at the start of the season. I think what's most likely going to happen is that we'll get right up to the start of the season, and then they're going to put him on the IL, the 4-week injury list, where he cannot play between weeks 1 and 4, and then in week 5 he will be activated. I do not think if there's any question about whether he's healthy or not, I don't think we're going to put him on the field because we know how important the guard position is, and we'd rather have him for the last 13 games being fully healthy than putting him in like week 1 just to try to fulfill some kind of quota that we put on ourselves, right? The problem with that is that means Liam Eichenberg is almost certainly going to be starting day 1, and we assume Jonah is going to be starting at the other guard whenever he gets signed, which still hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. It's just working out the guaranteed money. So that means that day 1, we're most likely going to have Jonah and Liam both starting at guards. We know what Liam did last year. Not pretty. It's the reason why we went out and got James in the first place, because Liam wasn't doing a job. But we did say that we thought Liam would be better this year. We got him for depth at the position, and it would almost immediately play dividends because the guy that's your depth position was your starter last year. So he wasn't great last year. I'm sure his offseason conditioning program has been all about right and wrongs because 2 years ago he was solid. Last year, awful. Which one is which? Because last year, we had a lot of we had a lot of issues on the line in total. So which Liam is the real version of him? I think he is a backup level spot starting guard. That's what I believe. He needs to go prove that. And 4 weeks of spot starting duty, yeah, that will give him a chance to prove his worth. And I'm sure he wants to like kind of audition for future teams because we signed him to a 1-year deal. Guards are not plentiful in the league, at least not ones that can play meaningful minutes. If he comes in for those 4 weeks, plays well, he might be earning himself money in the offseason. So this is really like an extended audition for him. Yes, let me play well for the Dolphins now, but also let me play well for the other 30 teams, 31 teams watching me. Like, hey, that guy might be able to work on our team. So I do not believe this. The injury news is being shaped to be like, oh, James is going to be ready right when the season starts. I just think the Dolphins are going to be a little bit more cautious with it. We have him for a 3-year deal already, so it's not like a 1-year thing where we have to like get him immediate feedback and get like an immediate return. I do think they're going to most likely baby him a little bit because even when you get back to fully healthy, you're not going to be fully healthy. You got to kind of play yourself into shape. And our first 2 weeks, I think, are relatively winnable. Week 3 is Buffalo, rough, but we should be 3-1 after the first 4 games, no matter how we kind of cut this, if we do our job. And if that's the case, he comes back in, the team's already rolling a little bit, then we get him in there. Eichenberg now is warmed up in case James is not right. Liam, do your job a little bit. So I think it's good news. I would like to hear that he was ahead of schedule. You telling me he's on schedule means that nothing has gone wrong, which for rehab is usually a good thing. Just saying, hey, you gave me 6 months to recover. We're 3 months in. I'm halfway at my mobility. I'm halfway at my strength. Like, okay, cool. If you told me, yo, I'm already like doing running drills, ooh, good. So I do not believe. I don't believe. I'm saying it right now. This is in what, June. I do not believe he will be the day 1 starter. Not because he's not good enough. I just don't think physically he's going to be ready. In more injury news, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine has been also injured, but his injury is undisclosed. We don't know what's going on. Coach McDaniel said he was actually hurt earlier, like in the season. So since we acquired him, he actually got hurt already, and then came back and has kind of been locked in, but then is out again. We don't know what the injury is. They didn't even specify upper body, lower body. His spirits seem to be good. They did say, don't think it's going to affect training camp. So my guess would be he may have gotten some kind of a cleanup type surgery where the recovery time is, a month, maybe up to 2 months, but they don't believe it'll be a season ending thing because we haven't gone out and acquired any more receivers. So it seems like he's going to play, just not right now. And again, he's on a 2-year contract, so we like Nick. He has a good chance to break out in his offense. He's been a big play receiver. Never had any year that was like yardage wise crazy. 9 touchdowns last year, pretty dope. I think he's going to be fine. The question is, how does this affect Malik Washington, who currently is a third receiver, more or less? Like he was a third receiver last year. Now he gets all those third team reps, and they're already saying that Nick Westbrook he hadn't quite stranglehold the third receiver job yet. We went and gave him money, 2 years, $5.99 million. We gave him some money to be the third receiver. But if you're out before, briefly come back out again, you're not getting those reps. And because he's such a deep threat, he's not really an every down, every route tree guy. If you're not able to just run deep and moss people or jump for the ball, even in practice, like you're running routes that's not primarily what you're going to be doing. Malik is a shifty, quick, get open, get me the ball kind of receiver. He's getting all those reps right now. So I think this does set up Malik to be in a position where he can go into training camp legit as I'm the starting wide receiver 3, and Nick's got to come in and take my job from me, which I like. I want maximum competition at every position. Even like at positions that we feel pretty secure about. Let's say Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips are starting day 1 and 2. I want Chop to be playing so well that we have to question, do we want to start Chop? That's the level of competition I want, because you get the best out of people when there's other good people competing for the spot. When you just give someone a spot because they have a contract, oh, you're already getting money, so you get the job. If they're not the best person, and when you're on a team, you know who the best person is. We're looking at you, Cleveland. The players on the field know who's playing better. We know who's the better player. And if Malik's out here getting open, saucing people, getting them hands up, doing all the things, like getting all the practice, Tua's getting the timing down, like, oh, this guy's good. And Nick's like, hey, remember that 2-year contract? Bro, you ain't been on the field. Maybe you do provide something different for our team. You do have a deep threat. You are a bigger receiver. You ain't been here. Tua don't got timing with you. Malik was on the team last year. So he already knows the offense. He already knows how Tua wants to get the ball out. We expect a better Jalen. We expect a better Tyreek this year. So there should be ideally more space in the middle of the field because those guys just eat up coverage. You got to get open. And if Nick's not around, I'm not saying at some point he won't be the wide receiver 3, but the longer he's not playing, he's not so entrenched in the team that he just has a job on lock. This is one of those positions where you very much could lose your job if you're not on the field. Very much so. And maybe you're wide receiver 4, you make a couple of splashy plays and say, oh, that's what we got you. And then you bring him in. But I don't know, man. Everybody seems like, oh, Nick's got wide receiver 3 on lock. I don't know about that. I don't know. If he's not practicing, he's not on the field, I think Malik might be up to you. Now, this is not technically an injury news, although we are talking about Bradley Chubb, who has been very injury prone. But this is a situation of, I respect that this story came out because it could have easily have not come out. Basically, the team talked last year about, hey, man, playoff push, culture change, fins up, blah, 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 blah. And Bradley Chubb came out flatly and said, hey, man, they was lying, which you never hear that bluntly. He didn't say, I was misled. He didn't say, oh, maybe we got the wrong thing. He said, hey, dog, they were lying last year. We weren't trying to change the culture last year. We were just out here seahorsing around, and then that was reflected on the field. Now, that's wild for Bradley Chubb because he literally didn't play last year. So maybe imperfect messenger with a perfect message. Because I think anybody who watched the team last year can't say, man, that was a real culture setting, altering season. But when a dude who didn't play last year is telling you, man, the culture was off, I'm like, well, I mean, I know you're in the locker room, I know you're in the sideline, but you're not really on the field. And anyone who's been injured in the sport knows when you're not playing, you're with the team. You feel like you're a part of the team. You got a jersey, you got a locker, you probably coaching up people who play your same position. but you're not as much a part of the team when you're not actually playing. It's a weird thing because when they're on the field and they're like, man, defense is going blah blah blah. You're like, no, you got to keep your head up. But when it's like, hey, I got you. I'm gonna do this on the next play. When you can't impact the game physically. You're like a motivator, right? So he talked about what the culture was last year and why things didn't get better. It's a pretty long quote, but we'll get into it. He said, we felt it. You know what I mean? We put our toe in the water, but we didn't dive all the way in. We didn't go all the way there with each other. We weren't making the extra effort to go the extra mile. I would say this year we're doing that. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out for us, but we are putting forth that foot to change it. If it works out, it works out. If not, we're going to get back to the drawing board. Now, again, he wasn't playing last year. So it's hard to say. He's giving a objective view from like the outside while also being on the inside. So maybe he's hearing guys talk about not putting the effort in. Maybe they're watching film and they're seeing people not do their job or go above and beyond. But he wasn't playing either. So he wasn't even in position to do that himself. I do like the idea that there was some kind of self evaluation. Hey guys, we're not doing what we said we would do as a team. Every position group supports other position groups, right? So just because you're here doesn't mean that other people don't matter. So if you're doing your job in the secondary and linebackers and D linemen are doing their job, like we got to keep each other accountable. Hey, I can cover this on the back end, but I need you to get to that quarterback, dog. He's got the ball for 6 seconds. There's some of that, and maybe that's like a, walking on eggshells kind of thing. That could be a Coach McDaniel thing. That could be just a lot of guys were hurt last year. And now you got guys on the field who are second and third stringers who may not feel they have the authority, for lack of a better term, to speak up and speak out and be like, hey, I don't think we're doing this the right way, but I'm the backup linebacker. So I'm trying to stay on the field, make a good impression. I don't want to make waves, but we are better than what we're showing. And I think we all saw that last year. I was talking to a guy online today, and he was talking about, man, the offense just wasn't dynamic last year, and all the numbers bear that out. They all bear it out. There were very few explosive plays, just a ton of tunnel screens, bubble screens, dump offs to the running back, and he was just like, dude, the offense was so vanilla. It was hard to watch. I'm a Dolphins fan for a long time, and I respect what he's saying because we all saw the same thing. But some of that was, if you're not blocking well enough up front, the receivers aren't getting far enough downfield. The quarterback doesn't feel safe to hold onto the ball. You got to get the ball out quick. You're doing a quick dump off pass because you don't want to deal with, if I hold this ball any longer, I'm going to get swallowed up by the defensive line. Also, if you got second and third string receivers on the field and they're not running routes at the proper metrics, not a quarterback say the ball should be out now, but you're not where you need to be. Now I'm holding it, and now things start falling apart. So one thing begats another. And when the team is saying we're going to come together, we're going to do this, us against the world kind of thing, that means that first and foremost, you have to do your job. That's the first thing. Do your job. Then we can do more than our job. But you got to do your job first. If you don't do your job, you can't go above and beyond and try to cover for weaknesses and this and that. If you don't do your main job, no one else's job matters. So we'll see how the team performs this year. I think he said it right. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, we're going to go back to the drawing board and figure out a better way forward. So shout out to Bradley for the good messaging. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and subscribes. You guys have been crushing it. And we'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.